In this video, I'll be demonstrating the Chapter 6 end of chapter exercise. Now, Chapter 6 focuses on tables, so we'll be building our page this time around using a table. To start with, let's go ahead and open up our default.htm document inside of the Chapter 6 folder. And then we'll go up to the menu bar and click on the Table menu, choose Insert Table. And then here we'll tell it that we want to build a table that is 3 rows by 2 columns. We want it to be 697 pixels wide, so we need to change where it says in percent to in pixels. We also want to remove the cell padding value. We'll just change that to 0, and the cell spacing value, we'll make that 0 also. And our borders will be set at 0 too. We don't want to see the borders in our table. We're just going to use the table to build the structure of our page. So we'll go ahead and click OK. You can see the new table now appears here in our document. These white dotted borders represent the outlines for each of the cells in our table. And we're going to make a quick modification here to this table. The first row and the last row want to be just 1 column wide, but the full width of the table. And so what we need to do is click into the first cell of the first row and then hold down our mouse button, drag to the right to select the 2 columns, the 2 cells that make up that first row. And then we'll just go ahead and right click on the selected area and come down here in the context menu to the Modify submenu, and from the flyout there we'll go ahead and choose Merge Cells. So we've got 1 cell that's the full width of our table now in the first row, and we'll do the same thing now for our last row. See, the first row is going to have our header and the last row is going to have our footer, so that's why we're making this modification. So now I've selected the 2 cells in the bottom row. I'll right click on those selected cells, go to Modify, once again choose Merge Cells, and so that gives us the basic table structure then that we're going to be using here in this assignment. Now I'll just go ahead and click back into the first row that we merged those 2 cells in previously, and I want to just drag and drop my header image then into that first row. And for the alternate tag, I'll just type in Vecta Corp header and click OK. And then I'll go ahead and drag the footer GIF down here into the bottom row. We'll just put in Vecta Corp footer for the alternate tag. The next thing we'll do is we'll go ahead and create our navigation system, which is going to be over here on the left-hand side in the middle row. So I'm going to click inside of that first cell in the middle row now, and we'll type in Home and press Enter. Then we'll type About Us, Solutions, Contact Us, and I missed support, didn't I? Let's go back and add support right here before Contact Us. So those will be our navigation items. Let's go ahead and select each one individually here. And then over in your style sheet, if you have the Apply Styles task pane open, you should see a style that's already been created for you. It's the nav link style. So once you've selected the home text, just come over here to the task pane and click on nav link. And that will go ahead then and make home in the right style, and then we'll do the same for About Us, Solutions, Support, and Contact Us. Now each one of these nav items is also going to be a hyperlink, so we need to add the hyperlink for each one. Let's select Home, right click on it, go ahead at the very bottom of the context menu, choose Hyperlink, and we'll just type in default.htm for the name of the file that links to. Then I'll select About Us and do the same thing, right click on it, choose Hyperlink, and type in aboutus.htm for the page that it links to. Solutions, of course, links to solutions.htm. Support is going to be support.htm. And then finally, contact us. We'll create a hyperlink that points to the page contactus.htm. Of course, we've got to type these in because the pages haven't been created yet. That's what we'll be doing after we get the first page built. Now let's go ahead and start working on the content area. If you look over here to the right in the middle row, we've got this cell here. This is going to become our content area. And the first thing we want to do is add our subheader that says welcome. So here in my images folder, I'll look for subheader welcome and go ahead and drag that into position. Just type in welcome as our alternate text and click OK. Then I'm going to press enter, and now I'll go get the text that belongs on this page out of our assets folder. So I'm in the chapter 6 folder here, going to go open up assets, and there's our home text file there. So let's just go ahead and right click and hold down on the right mouse button as we drag that home text over here into that second cell in the middle row. Then once we let go, we'll go ahead and choose the insert file option, and we want to choose the fourth option down here where it asks us to paste the text and is asking us which format we want to choose. We're going to choose normal paragraph with line breaks and then click OK. So that quickly gets all of the text placed on our page for us. So we've got some of our content here. We've got some of the basic structure of our page set up. The next thing we want to do is start to modify some of the properties of the cells here in the table. So I'm going to go over to the cell on the left of the middle row that has our navigation system here, and I'm going to first click into the cell and then right click on it and choose cell properties. For the horizontal alignment, we'll leave that at center, but we want to move this group of links up to the top of the cell. So for vertical alignment, we want to go ahead and choose top. And then down here at the bottom, we're going to set the color to white, and we're going to put in a background image as well. So I'm going to put a check in this box that says background image or background picture, and then I'll click on the browse button and navigate to my chapter 6 folder, go into the images folder, and we're looking for the main BG or main background GIF. So I'll double click to open that up. And I also want to specify a width here of 240 pixels for this column. So our horizontal is set to center, vertical to top. We won't have to worry about the rows spanned here. We changed the background color to white. Actually, that was for borders, wasn't it? Background color should be white. Borders, we really don't want to have any color. We'll just leave that at automatic. As long as we don't have a size here, you won't see the borders anyway. And then we've got our background image, and we've got our pixel width 240. So go ahead and click OK. And so now you should see this gray background appear. And notice all your links have moved to the top. Then we'll go ahead and modify the content cell. So I'm going to click into the content cell, right click on it, go ahead and choose cell properties. We want the vertical alignment here to also be top. And we're going to make the background color white. And we're going to specify a width of 457 pixels. And there's no image to go in the background here, it's just going to be a solid white background. So we just go ahead and click OK at this point. And you can see now that we have the two widths of the cell set up correctly. The image here in the navigation section is aligned to the border, the gray border here between the navigation section and the white content area is now lined up with the header image. And if we scroll down, we should see the same thing is true for our footer image as well. Now, one thing I didn't do on our content cell here is I didn't align everything left. So I think I'm going to right-click back in that cell, go back to cell properties, and set my horizontal alignment to left there, and then click OK. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use another table, and I'm going to place it inside of this cell here where we have all of our content text. And then we'll come back and I'll cut some of this content text out of here, and we'll place it into this new table. So basically we're going to create a 3-column table, and one column will have our solutions on it, which will be in the left, and then the other column will have client testimonials on the right, and then the third column will just be a separator that we'll use to create some space between those two columns. So I'm going to go down here below my text, go ahead and press the Enter key to get some space below that text. And then I'll go ahead and go up to our menu bar, open up the table menu again, and I'll choose Insert Table. And this time we're going to create a table that's 3 rows by 3 columns. We'll make the width 457 pixels, so it's going to be the full width there of our content area. And again, we're going to have 0 for the padding, 0 for the spacing, and 0 for the border. Go ahead and click OK. So there's our new table created down here at the bottom. Now I can go ahead and grab some of this text and start putting it into place. Now we're not going to actually use this our solutions text. They've got an image that we're going to use for that instead. So I'm just going to go ahead and select that paragraph, get rid of that text. In fact, I'm going to come over to my images folder here. I'm going to grab the subheader solutions, and I'm going to drag and drop that in the first cell in the first row here. And then we'll just type in solutions as the alternate text. Oops, that's not the right one though. Got the wrong image. Let me just select that and delete it. Actually wanted to have the one that says Our Solutions here. So click subheader Our Solutions. It's right above subheader Solutions. So I'll click and I'll drag that into the first cell. And again, type in solutions for the alternate text, and there we go. That's the one I'm looking for. And while I'm putting images in the header portion of this part of the content area, I think I'll click into this right column there so I can see where that is. And I'm going to go ahead and grab the subheader client testimonial and put that in there. And we'll type in client testimonials for our alternate text. And so right here now in the actual text, it's up above the table, we again have the header that we're not going to use, client testimonials, so I'm just going to select that paragraph, get rid of it. And now if we just grab the text here underneath of welcome, we want to go down to where we have our solutions. So I'm going to start with V prospect 2.0, and then we'll come down right past the paragraph text for V retain, and I'm going to hold down my shift key and then click. Wouldn't let me do that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start from here and just click and drag. Wouldn't let me do for shift select for some reason. And this is tricky too. If I move a little bit too far to the left, it wants to select all the text. Okay, so I've got the V prospect and the little blurb under that, V convert, little blurb, V retain, the blurb under that. So I'm going to go ahead and cut that, Control X, and then I'll come down here to the third row, because we want to leave this space between the header and the text. So down in the third row, so I'm in the left-hand column, bottom row, and then I'll Control V, go ahead and paste that text in there. And then we'll do the same thing for client testimonials now. I'll grab start here and work my way up. Just click and hold my mouse down, drag it up through all of that text, just leaving the paragraph underneath the welcome header there. Now another way to do this too is we could just click and hold on this selected text and we could just drag it right down here in the table. That works just as well as cutting and pasting. So this is the basic thing that we want to do here within this particular assignment. We can fancy it up a little bit. There's the logos over here in the images folder that we can add for each of our products. So I can take like V prospect and drag that and drop it there right before the V, if I can get it. There we go. And we'll just put in V prospect logo. And I'll do the same thing for V convert. Type in V convert logo as our alternate text. And then we've got V retain, and we'll drag and drop that right before the V there. Type in V retain as the alternate text. And actually that should have been V retain logo, but we'll let that one slide. We also have some logos for the gentlemen here that have created the testimonials for us. So we'll go get the dork nozzle logo and we'll drag that over here right before the gentleman's name, Ferris Finkelstein, and we'll put in dork nozzle logo. And then we also have the IX logo as well, logo IX. And we'll add that right before just in case here. IX logo is the alternate text. And then let's go ahead and just press the enter key. And I'll do that up here too, just to move the text underneath of the logos there. You know, actually I think maybe I'd like this logo to be up above the testimonial text. So just press the enter key after there, and then now I've got this extra paragraph here, so let's get rid of that. And then let's move this logo up here. And press the enter key and get rid of this paragraph. So I think that looks a little bit better. Now we probably could align this content here up to the top of this column. So let's right click into that cell. And let's come down to cell properties, set the vertical alignment to top. And we'll do the same thing for client testimonials, although the text is large, there's more content in that column, so it's already pushing it to the top. But just in case we're going to make changes down the road, I'll just make sure I've got my vertical alignment set to top for both of those columns there. So this page is pretty well set at this point. You could go back and do some formatting of the solution headers or something like that. We could come in here and select our testimonial text and format it italics. And we could do an indent then on the signature. So this is all just, basic formatting that you've done before on this text. I just encourage you to go ahead and do that just for the sake of the fact that the more you repeat something, the better or more likely you are to retain it. And it looks a little more professional if we've added a few little touches to it like that as well. So I'm going to go ahead and save my document then at this point. And then I'll preview it in the browser, make sure everything's working okay. Okay, so that's pretty much what your page should look like. And that's the home page. So what I want you to do then is to go ahead and do this same thing now for each of your other pages, for the About Us page, Solutions, Support, and Contact Us. Go ahead and create the table format. You don't have to put the nested table in on these other pages, but create the 3 rows. Initially it's 3 rows, 2 columns wide, and then remember you want to merge the first 2 cells in the first row and merge the 2 cells in the bottom row. Add your header, add your footer, go ahead and get the navigation set up here in the left-hand column of the middle row, and then paste the content that's here in your assets folder in the content area then of each of those pages. And if you want to apply some formatting to those elements in the page, that's fine too. So once you publish the document, then you should be able to click on all your links and they should open up the appropriate pages. So that's pretty much all you have to do. Again, just build this home page the way you see it here, and then apply the same technique that I showed you with the table in each of these subsequent pages: About Us, Solutions, Support, and Contact Us. And then go ahead and publish all your files up to the web server. Email me the hyperlink for your Chapter 6 folder, and then I can go ahead and give you credit